able to turn and pass my disorder check, and then we roll, and I roll a zero. So it's a special effing result. And I'm like, okay, fine, we take it. He doesn't fail his morale check. I'm like,
Right.
so we go back for the second, another zero. And I rolled the zero both times just to make it worse.
Right.
So so this stack of two Hussar units, it's like 15 increments of total strength, loses five,
Oh my gosh.
and now is disordered, at the end of this battle. I mean, yes, it vaporized the other guys, and yes, he lost more than five increments, but still, I'm just like, God dang. That's not going to make it any easier to go deal with the medium cavalry, from the rest of the Austrian army. I was kind of counting on actually having some guys here. So I
Right.
was like, it was frustrating, but whatever. What you gonna do?
Yeah. No,
Anyway, so
it's
like I said, we didn't make a lot of progress. Um, Albert's really kind of stuck. I mean, I'm not really convinced his choice of attack was all that wise. He's between a couple of pawns, and so the Austrian skirmishers are really giving him a hard time, and
oh,
he's
okay.
really having trouble pushing them aside and making progress. Um,
This is
and
up
then
in the
he's got
northwestern part of the
huh
map? Oh,
that
okay.
that's up in the north, up in the northeast, just just the other side of the pond from Kej. Well, it's where the earthworks are. If you
Oh,
remember
okay. Yeah, I
where
remember the earthworks.
where
Yeah.
where Kuhl had some guys up there, Dursel had
Right.
some guys up there manning those, and he's through those, but they're behind it. It actually narrows a little bit behind the earthworks, and so now he's just at the point where he's kind of at the minimum width. And I mean, it's just all he can do to push them back one hex of return, and he's just not doing that many casualties on them. It's
Yeah.
just really, he's really slogging his way through. So, and then John was mentioning that on the off-map display is all of those grenadiers, the ones that I used when I attacked the earthworks,
Right.
the guys that were basically at the tail end of the army, are
Right.
still off the board. And I'm like, Albert, you should just bring them on and attack the Austrian left. The Austrian left that's pinned until 1 o'clock. But guess what? It's almost 1 o'clock. They're going to be freed anyway. You might as
Right.
well move and make them fight you,
Right.
and at least get these guys on the field, because right now, where are you going to bring them on? Like, your whole army is plugged in between these two ponds. So anyway, he said, "Yeah, I'll do that."
Yeah,
So anyway,
because
let's
the
do.
scenario's over at what, 4 o'clock or five
Yeah, I
o'clock?
think so.
Yeah, it was
I think
something. It
it's
was
like
kind of
4 o'clock,
early,
something like that.
you know.
Yeah, yeah. And so anyway, that'll be interesting, because first of all, it'll mean that he'll get more units on the board. It'll also mean that really those left flank units won't be able to get engaged.
Okay.
I mean, they won't be able to move, right? Because right now at 1 o'clock, he's going to pull every one of them off the line
Right.
and swing them around to face us. Well, this way he's not going to, because if those grenadiers show up, you don't want to turn around,
Right.
because they will mess you up. So in the meantime, we'll do that, and of course we're gonna try to win the cavalry battle. We'll see if that goes. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Right?
Yeah, I mean, the
Um,
Austrians had a lot of stuff. They definitely outnumbered
oh
the
yeah,
Prussians in heavy cavalry, but their light cavalry was just complete rubbish compared to the
absolutely right.
Prussians.
And so I'm just hoping that the quality of the quality of the light cavalry is going to allow them to fight with the heavy cavalry, and then just with any luck, just the weight of um, better guys is going to make that happen.
Right.
And if we can do that, then he's in bad shape.
Yeah, because then
Because
you can kind of turn that end of the line. Now, the question I
hmm
had is, and I don't know if you guys are playing with it or not, but when I had read through the some of the scenario stuff for Prague, and this was, of course, after we'd played it, I was kind of rereading through some of the stuff, and
yeah,
it talked about the Austrian player having like 20 fieldwork markers they could place out on their among their troops somewhere. So did John do that, or did you guys miss that? But there was something I seem to
Well,
recall where it was like the
he
Austrians
set
have
up
these fieldwork, counters that you can
right.
basically put down, and basically represents the temporary fieldworks that had been constructed or
Well,
something like that.
first of all, I don't know because he set up before we got there.
Oh, okay,
I mean, knowing he was playing the Austrians, there was no reason to make us sit there and watch him set up.
right,
So he set up, and of course, I assume he took every advantage, right? I didn't bother to spot check his work. He did keep talking about how it was something. I'm trying to remember exactly how he explained it. It was something like um, I had to put the earthworks where there were units, not necessarily where I wanted the earthworks to go. In other words, I would have rather had them this hex, one hex forward, but the unit, I had to put it with a unit. And
oh,
the
okay,
unit was back here.
right,
And so that means the earthworks are back here, even though that's not really where I would want to put it. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, like I said, I was just going to take him at his word that and far from taking advantage, it sounded like he was complaining
right,
that he was having to put it where he didn't want to put it. So
yeah, yeah,
I don't know exactly the language you're speaking to, but that yeah, I could see that I bet he has 20 earthworks scattered around the line. Although to be clear, a lot of them are over on that left flank that was off the map of the game that you and I played.
right.
Um, so so I'm not sure if he's actually missing out on any. In other words,
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was
I
just
bet he
curious because I
does.
know when we played, the Austrians didn't have any, they only had the earthworks that were printed
They
on the
probably had
map. And so that's what got me thinking that
no, not
maybe it
at
was a
all, not
different
at all.
scenario
A
or
lot
something.
of his artillery was in earthworks, was in earthworks that were counters. He had
Oh, okay.
maybe six. He had two of them near Kaj, two of them that were kind of near the Kaiserstrasse, and then two of them that were down near that village that your grenadiers were near.
I thought those were, well, I don't know. For whatever
They
reason, I
were
thought they
light.
were printed on the map, but maybe the only
Mm-mm.
ones that were printed are the ones that were up there where your
Between those
grenadiers
two ponds
attacked. Yeah,
up
that could be
north.
the
Yeah,
case.
exactly.
Yeah,
And
but we
you're right.
still
I mean,
were
so
short, another dozen
right,
markers.
but I think the majority of them were actually over on the west map
Right,
because that was where the main Austrian defense line really was.
right,
I mean, there was just kind of the right wing that was out there was intending to hold the Tomberberg or whatever it was called, the name of that hill that they were
right.
minding down there. But but yeah, no, the setup that I saw, actually, we were pleasantly surprised because he was really concerned that we were going to get around his flank.
Right.
But he he had interior lines, and boy, you really see interior lines being useful here because he was able to pull guys off of the west map and have them in nearly the exact same places where the setup was for the scenario we played by the
Wow.
time that scenario started.
That's cool.
It wasn't. It's kind of nice, right? Because you hope that the designer does that,
Yeah.
right? Um, and there's a guy, David Hughes, a Scottish fellow. I think he lives in Australia nowadays. He
Right.
writes a lot of reviews and stuff, and he's pretty scathing. It, a lot of people don't care for his tone. I think he's almost always really right, and I wish his tone wasn't quite so abrupt because I think he has a lot of good things to say, but I think sometimes he can be off-putting to people.
Well, and I think
But
he posts stuff from time to time in the Labatai consim page. I've seen. Yeah.
I would think he would absolutely, and Scotty Dave, I think is his handle on Consim World, I think, or maybe that's on BGG anyway. But
Right.
but he and Zucker will go 30 rounds. Now I don't know that they do anymore because I think I think Zucker doesn't want to have anything to do with him anymore.
Right.
But
Yeah.
he he will say, "Look, if I start at where you say the scenario starts,
Mm-hmm.
and then I follow the rules of your game,
Right.
I can't get to this and such by this time, even though I'm sitting here reading in the history and it says at 1 p.m. there was this fight over this village, but I can't get there by then."
Right.
And then and the two of them will go back and forth about, no, no, you don't understand. Oh my gosh, it's exhausting. But you certainly would imagine that that would be exactly the sort of thing that a game designer would want to
Right.
do. Can I make the battle go the way history made it go? I don't want it to
Right.
always go that way, of course, otherwise, what's the point? But I'd like to at least know that it could.
Sure.
And
Sure.
um, speaking of which, I am reading. Oh gosh, why can't I think of the name? It's a book about the Ilau campaign.
Oh, okay.
Something in the snows. Uh, why I can't think of it, I don't know. And like most history books, it's got some maps in it,
Right.
and the maps are never frequent enough. And the maps don't always include the names of places that get referenced in the text. And I was just going nuts trying to read this.
Hmm.
And eventually I went, wait a minute. I've got Zucker's Habit of Victory on the shelf right above my head. So I pulled it down and put the map out on the gaming table. It's from his campaign system. I think he had a campaign system called 1X where like a turn is 1 day,
Right.
and then this one is 2X where a turn is 2 days.
Okay.
And I think he just did that for various scaling reasons.
Right.
Um, and this map is like Poland's at the bottom, or excuse me, Warsaw is at the bottom, and Königsberg is up at the north, and Danzig is on the west.
Right.
And so basically, this is where the whole 1807 campaign took
Right.
place.
Yeah. You've got.
And I found it so helpful.
Yeah.
Because
No, I'm sure.
literally this afternoon, I'm reading the book and going, okay, there it is in Hex 2314. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's so much easier to read.
I have. What is it? John Elting's Atlas of the Napoleonic.
Oh,
Napoleon's
okay.
campaigns or whatever, and so that's really
Right.
good.
Oh, I'll
Um,
bet.
yeah, because it's got the campaign stuff, and then it kind of zooms in on the battle, and for a
Right.
bigger battle, it's like, okay, here's what it looked like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and here's what it looked like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, kind of a thing.
Right.
And it's got
Yeah,
all
so
the
you can really kind of follow it.
yeah, yeah. Um, and so yeah, I like that. There's times though I have to get out my magnifying glass because they'll sometimes have the little village names or town names kind of
Oh.
printed in this softer font, so it doesn't
Oh
like
boy.
overload
Oh,
the stuff. So
okay.
just
So
from like a graphic display point of view, you'll have obviously the French in blue and the whoever else
right.
in red or whatnot. And then you've got like the name of the little town, these little towns in sort of this very gray, small gray font. And you're like, okay,
some
what is that? Is
some
that,
incomprehensible Eastern European
Heil? Is it
name.
Heilsberg,
Right.
Hellsberg? How's it spelled? And in some of these battles, you've got, Gross Eiserstadt and
Oh,
Kleine
right.
Eiserstadt
Right.
and Petit Einerstadt. You've got all that. Got three Eiserstadts or whatever. Just for
Well,
example, that are there
so
on the
it's funny
map,
you
and you're trying to figure out where the hell is
yeah,
is
yeah, which
which.
one are we talking about?
Yeah.
Well, I realized as I'm looking around this map, and it's not a great map, but it's still way better than not having a map. So
Right.
I'm looking around it and I realize why they always call it, and I don't speak German, so I'm not going to say this very well, but Preußisches Eilau. And it's like, why do they always call it that? Why is
Because
it
there's
always
another
Prussian Eilau?
Eilau.
Yeah, and it's on the map.
Yeah.
Deutsche Eilau, which is south and west of it, pretty good distance. It's not like they're close to each other, but I just thought it was funny because it's like, okay, now I understand why that's the name, even though if you just say Eilau, no one asks you to clarify
Right. Well,
which one you mean. But
the rumor is that I guess that game
the
from
Sound of
Sound of
Drums game,
Drums is supposed to
yeah,
be have arrived here in the United States,
okay,
either It's either
Oh,
just
that's right.
arrived or it's coming in,
No,
this
I think it
week. And
was
so by the
supposed
end
to
of
be Thursday
April,
or
I should have a
Friday,
copy of it.
which is exciting. It
Yeah, yeah.
really is. And to be honest with you, so I finished my Luthen game.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
I think I read that you kind of just pulled the plug on it because no one was going to get a victory.
well, yeah, I mean, I realized that it was now 8:20, so there were
Right,
two turns left. And I realized, you can only have one army morale check per turn.
right,
Like, no matter how many double aughts you roll, it's still going to be two checks. And I went, and there's no way that two checks would be enough to put either army at their concession number.
right,
So I'm like, okay. And I mean, it'd been on my table since December. And it's just like, at a certain point, you're like, okay, I've had my fun, you know. And really, the Prussians were starting to get shot up enough. And the Austrians had pulled back behind the sunken road. So the Prussians were going to be operating at a disadvantage.
right,
And then they were at plus 10 versus the plus 5 for the Austrians. Now, let's be fair, plus 10, they were still better off, but a lot of the units were starting to get shot up. A lot of them had fatigue. And so I was like, it's not really a slam dunk to me that if I just bum rush these guys, that I'm actually going to take them out. I mean, I might, but
right.
to me, I try to think like a historical leader.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to fight unless I have an unfair advantage, right? I mean, because
Right.
otherwise I'm just grinding up my army for what?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the way I approach these battles. And so I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, if I'm Frederick at this point, I mean, for one thing, it's 8:20 at night. It's been dark for at least 2 hours.
Right.
I mean, you can't really manage an army in the dark. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, do you have any idea what's happening? I don't know. But I'm thinking that the army's pretty shot up at this point, and it's not obvious that we're going to be able to really prosecute this to a successful conclusion. Maybe we should just call it a night.
Right.
And from the Austrians' perspective, it's like, well, we're all still alive, or at least we think we are, until morning when we realize how many of us have gotten killed.
Right.
So they were probably perfectly happy to stop. So I thought, yeah, you know what? It was a little bit like Zorndorf,
Okay.
but they
Very,
both
very
sides
bloody.
beat each other bloody, and then just probably the next day they're going to stare at each other because they're too tired to do much. And so I don't know. That seemed like a believable result. I will say that feels like an Austrian moral victory.
I would say
They,
so because they didn't get routed off the map like what happened
yeah,
historically. So,
yeah, and the Bavarians got pretty kicked around because I wasn't able to get them out of the line in time. I mean, they moved back to Luton town, right?
right.
Because they were, well exposed out on the left. They and the Württembergers got the hell out of the way, and the Württembergers are even worse. So I literally was marching them off the map
Right.
at the end of the game just to get them out of the way because some of the Prussian cavalry was starting to get too close, and I was like, no way. I thought about putting them all in square,
Right.
just. But anyway, I thought, you know what? I'll just take an activation and just march them out of the way.
Well, our
Um,
friend William Arens from Kitchener, Ontario, although he's viewing us tonight from beautiful Little Rock, Arkansas,
oh, he's still in Little
he's
Rock.
still in
Oh,
Little
very
Rock.
nice.
I mean,
Okay, all right.
you've
I
got to
mean,
enjoy the
why
the
not?
fine air of Little Rock.
Why not?
He says, "Do either of you prefer scenarios that allow you to correct the obvious strategic, military, and political mistakes of the historical leaders?"
I, that's that's it. I think I'd like to play the historical version first because I kind of just want to see if does it really play out. Like,
Right.
do you get to the setup of the morning battle scenario if you start earlier? Can you get there? Hey, look, you can. Um, but on the other hand, when I think about Fontenoy, and yeah, I know I'm mispronouncing it because I know it's not Fontenoy, but that's what it looks like in English.
Right.
Um, I, it was I'd played it several times before I finally decided to just follow the historical approach
Right.
of just basically attacking the earthworks
Right.
because I couldn't bring myself to do it. I played the other scenarios where I could, march off the board and go around them because I just thought, why are you doing this? This is stupid. I will say the one time I did play it in the historical way, the
Right.
result was basically historical. They
Okay.
broke through the earthworks in a number of places. They did a lot of damage. And then ultimately, the rest of the French were all still standing there when the English realized, you know what, we're running out of guys.
Right.
We won the battle that we intended to fight, but it turns out there's a ton of Frenchmen left. So maybe it's time to leave.
Right.
And that's kind of how the real battle worked. So um, it was it was satisfying to see the game actually succeed in that. But I can't really imagine wanting to play it that way very often,
Okay.
right? Because it's like I suspect it's going to end the same way the next time.
Right.
So the game that we played with Paul and John and Albert, where I guess John was the allied left and Paul was the allied right, and it was the game they were playing at Consim World in Dallas back in
Yeah.
2000
Yeah.
and or 2020 rather. Sorry, um, and I took over the French right when we played it again at
Okay.
John's house. And that, of course, was very different because Paul had done a hard sweep through the woods,
Right.
and then John had done a hard sweep around the left and attacked that town that's at the
Sort of
on
the
the Scheldt
linchpin right
River.
there on the
Yeah,
river.
exactly. So it's like they did everything but attack the middle.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, that makes sense to me because you know what's going to happen if you follow the historical formula. So
Yeah.
thank goodness there are scenarios that let you do it the other way. So that's a long answer to John from Kitchener,
To
Ontario, who's
William,
in
yes, but
William, terribly sorry, who's now in Little Rock.
yeah.
But that's my answer is it it's great to try the historical one, but yeah, you're right. Especially when it's really dumb stuff, I want to be able to do something else too.
Yeah, and I would say that that is probably fairly typical for most war gamers. I mean, the whole attraction of playing Gettysburg or Waterloo or whatever else is, can I do better than Napoleon? Can I do better
Right.
than, you know, Lee? Um, but that's usually those battles they're already set, right? I mean, the stuff that's going to be there is going to be there.
Well,
So you'd have to
one of the
go with a game that's
things,
maybe a little bit more on an operational level, where you're like those Zucker games, the Library
right,
of Napoleonics, where you are.
you're zoomed out a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean you're going to fight at Ligny, right? You could fight
Yeah, you
somewhere
might.
else. You could fight,
If there's a good reason to fight there, you will.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But you could fall back, or you could fight,
right,
at the river crossings. They're trying to get across the Belgian border. So,
right.
you've got some options to do things differently. But when you're playing a game like this one at Kolin, I mean, it's already decided what's going to be there
Yeah,
and what's going to happen.
yeah.
Same with any of the
There's
La Bataille stuff, um, and so then it's just a question of, okay, what would be the political outcome of a victory
of
here or
this
there or
result.
whatever
Yeah.
kind of stuff.
I guess one thing I would say though, when I think about Gettysburg, which you brought up, Gettysburg's actually a really interesting case because you can make it a very different game just by having variable reinforcement entry.
Yeah,
I mean, since it was a meeting engagement and nobody knew exactly when everybody was going to arrive, I mean, you had some ideas, but you didn't really know.
right.
So that's a way you could kind of let's don't just play Gettysburg for the 33rd time, right? Let's play a Gettysburg that could have easily been if just a few things were different. And by the way, you as a general on the field, you didn't know what was going to happen until, oh, look, there's Ewell.
Yeah,
Great. Come on. Um, and maybe you'll take that damn hill this time.
yeah,
So I mean, to me, I get it. I want to play the historical because I want to understand why it worked the way it did, and to a certain degree, I want to understand the history. But to a certain degree, I kind of want to test the game.
right.
Is the game able to make it make sense why it worked out the way it did? But then it's like, Yeah, but I don't want to be standing there on day 3 and try to do Pickett's charge. I mean,
Yeah,
that's stupid.
yeah, because we know how that turns out. Yeah,
Yeah, we know, and frankly, Lee should have known how that was going to
yeah.
turn out. But
Well,
bad
that's
fruit
that
wasn't
is
peeling yet.
that's what happens when you win more often
Too
than you
often.
lose. Yeah, you
Yeah, that's
end
for
up
sure.
getting
That is for sure.
a little bit cocky for yourself there.
But I
So,
guess one of the thoughts I really have, and certainly it speaks to this particular game system, is that I don't like too much certainty
well, this
because
game system gives you uncertainty by the bucketful.
exactly. And to me, I love that, right? Because to me, that's exactly what it would have been like in real life. It's like, I want you to go do this. Okay.
Yeah,
And when I tell you that, I'm pretty sure that what's happening in front of you is this, but turns out neither one of those is, I mean, the understanding was wrong and the order didn't get carried out the way you thought. And
right.
that's the way every battle is fought,
Yeah,
but even more so at the campaign level.
yeah, yeah.
Because after all, Frederick could see most of this battlefield, more or
Yes.
less,
Yeah,
right? But obviously, as soon as you get into a campaign, Katie bar the door. No idea what's going on
yeah.
beyond where I can see, and so I love a system that includes all that potential for misunderstanding.
Well, and
Because
I
if
don't
you
know if I
don't have
told you
that
or
in my
not, but
mind,
yeah, but
how do you?
I got that game, the Flying Eagle or whatever it's called, the Flight of the Eagle,
Oh, the flight of the
where
eagle! You
where
did.
it
Oh,
yeah
good for
yeah
you.
somebody had it on Consim Marketplace on
Oh, that's
Facebook,
great.
and I got it for a deal.
There
Um,
were 3 volumes. Which one did you get?
so
Which
I got the
campaign
one
for?
that includes it includes the 1807 campaign in Poland.
Oh, really?
It
Okay.
includes the 1809 campaign there on the Danube. So basically, the Austrians attacking
Okay.
um,
So
that,
that
which
was
is
the
the one
one
that
that I
you
was
had
playing.
done. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
then it's got another one. I can't remember off the top of my head what it is. But yeah, it had three different basic campaigns in it, and I
Okay.
was looking at it and I'm trying to figure out. Okay, I had thought that it might be a fun one to try to organize, like you'd had somebody do, where it
Right.
was a play by email type of
Yes.
situation.
Right.
Um, and so I'm still tempted to give that a try. It's just a matter of trying to figure out a way to automate it. So one of the things that
Exactly.
I thought would be interesting, somebody had posted on Board Game Geek, like an Excel spreadsheet that they use for tracking movement and all that stuff,
Okay.
distances and whatnot. Um, and
I
so I
thought
thought that
about
would work.
that,
But
but
then what I was
boy.
thinking is, hey, we've got AI. So
Oh
instead of me
my.
typing a note saying, you hear guns or this or that, whatever, I could ask ChatGPT, write me a note like a,
Oh, that's
military
hilarious.
missive from
Right,
18
right.
whatever,
Right,
and
right.
and this is what it is, and then see
And
what it
see what
is.
it generates.
Yeah,
That's
and then I could then
hilarious.
I and so then instead of me, I could just say,
But you're like
okay,
staying in character in a way.
exactly. And so,
Oh,
my
that's
kids
funny.
play Dungeons and Dragons and role playing. I'm like,
Sure.
this whole thing is like a role playing thing, except you're playing, a core
That's
commander or something like
hilarious.
that.
Right.
So I thought that might be fun to use then Chat
Well,
GPT.
it would
But the
take
example that they
some of
give
the burden.
in the in the rule book itself is as if you're
Yeah.
playing it at a convention and you're like the game master, and
Right.
it is almost like a D&D game where you're then feeding information to the different
Right.
players saying,
Right.
you hear this, or this is what's going on, or ba ba ba. And combat is very abstract. But I thought that
Yes,
might be a
well,
fun thing to try to do.
as it should be at
Yeah.
this level. That's not really what we're trying to model carefully, right?
Yeah.
Um,
I think
no, that
the
would
fun of it
be
is the whole fog of war.
exactly
Yeah.
right. And it's just like, okay, I lost. Not really sure why I lost. We'll debrief later. Who knows? But whatever, right?
Yeah.
Let's try to rally the troops somewhere and carry on. That would be a blast. I know David Hughes, same guy we were just talking about,
Right.
talked about literally filling a house with guys
Yeah.
and spending a weekend playing one of those campaigns. And I can't imagine if if you think it's hard to conduct one of these things over email where you've got a relative luxury of time, I can't fathom trying to convey all the information that needs to be conveyed to all the people if you're trying to do it live. I
Yeah.
mean, mind explodes. I'm thinking what I definitely want is a room full of wrens and those long sticks and a big table, to slide all the pieces. Oh no, he's
Yeah.
almost made it to Dresden.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, how are you gonna keep track of all of it? I mean, more seriously, I'm thinking a map, a very blown up map in
Right.
grease pencils, and plexiglass over it or something. Otherwise, I don't know how you'd not lose your mind. But like I said, I think the thing that I really struggled with is not knowing where my own troops were. In fact, I would receive a message at 10:15 in the morning, and it
Right.
would say this, but what I wouldn't know is where am I at 10:15. I mean, it seemed to me that every missive
Right.
should have had a when was it sent,
Mm-hmm.
what time did it arrive, and where are you?
Right.
What is your immediate situation when it arrives so that you have context that you would have if you were really there? And then, of course, whatever the content of the message was, did he remember to say where he was and how to send messages back to him? Did he say where he was headed?
Right.
Did he, and of course, that's a lot of the fun too, is what people forget to say because they think you already know.
Yeah. So
And that's
William
a
asks how many wars were fought to the point of exhaustion of one or both sides. Do either of you feel that the morale checks and the necessity of resupply are adequately modeled in the games that you play? Um,
you ask really good questions, William.
yeah. I would say
Yeah.
that with most of the ones that are on this tactical level, no, they're not. I mean, the morale checks are dealing with what's kind of happening as the day progresses, as the units get worn down, as the army gets worn down. Um, but resupply isn't so much an issue necessarily. I mean, sometimes if it's a case where you're not getting any ammunition, well, then you're going to run out of ammunition at some point for your artillery or whatnot. But I don't know that that on the grand tactical situation that matters. For the larger operational ones, maybe it does. But the problem is that with a lot of those, the higher you get in the scope of things, sometimes the less morale is a factor and they might be dealing with something more abstract.
I
Supplies
would
might
say
become an issue. Yeah.
in battle systems like this one, or
Hmm.
or in Labatai or whatever, the good news is you can kind of not worry too much about ammunition.
Right.
I mean, the truth is, and that's one of the things that's funny about most of these games is I think we're a lot freer with firing because we don't track ammunition.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that we don't, but I mean a lot of these guys would have gone into battle with 40 balls or 60 balls in their pouch.
Yep.
And if you think about it, you could fire 40 balls or 60 balls pretty fast. And
Yes.
who resupplied them? Well, to be honest with you, I'm glad I don't have to worry about that. I'd rather play a war game and not play a game of accounting. Um,
Well, you could
but
play a campaign for North Africa if you want to play a
you
game of
could and
accounting.
I don't. Although, by the way, I think it's fascinating. And I
Hmm.
was really excited at Console World last year when they actually gave it a go. I thought I admired them for just trying it because that's so insane.
Yeah.
But what I do think is modeled appropriately to me, and this is kind of going back to talking about my Luthen game, is that really by the end of it, you as a player go, do I really want to keep pressing with these guys? Or is it going to keep being embarrassing as more and more of them go shaken instead of going in for the assault?
Right.
And I was even starting to see that. I had some Prussian cavalry that just refused to attack, even though it was a no-brainer attack. But
Right.
they just refused. And I'm like, But but the day's getting long and it's dark, and it would be very easy for somebody to like, well, hold on, but we're being attacked on this flank. What are you talking about?
Right.
Right? And then the attack doesn't go in. And so it really felt to me like both armies are starting to really feel punch drunk, and you're not really able to make them do what you want them to do.
Sure.
So I think Barr does a pretty good job with that. By the end of the day, first of all, you're getting fewer activations.
Yep.
So the whole army's communications and command and control is starting to break down. Things just aren't moving the way they're supposed to. And then the units themselves, especially the ones that have been engaged, just it's like, do you even want to send them back in?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. The guys who took the walled church, by the way,
Yeah.
were a formation from the back row that had not fired a shot in anger. And I brought them up. I had them form into an attack column, and they just bulldozed their way right through that walled church. Why? Because they were fresh.
The one in Kej?
No, I'm sorry, the one in Luthen.
Oh, Luthen.
Little-
Okay. Yeah, I don't
It
have
was
Luthen, so I'm not familiar with the map.
yeah. There was a walled church right in the middle of town that really held out for a long time. The Prussians really had a hard time taking it.
Right.
And I didn't really have that much trouble. But again, part of it is because, the guys I brought up it was 2 battalions of absolutely fresh in assault column. And by the way, 12 pounders had been pounding the church for a
Right.
while. And I think that's all it took. And the defenders went running.
Well,
I don't know.
I have a sneaking suspicion that Dave is not going to be joining us this evening.
You mean 43 minutes after
43
the hour,
minutes
you're starting
after
to
the
get that
hour.
suspicion?
Yeah. So I think we can play. He's only got, I think, one command on his side that hasn't activated yet.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh,
And
I'm
so
looking
that just kind of
around.
leaves you, and then it leaves all of me. I haven't done anything
Wait a
yet.
minute. Wait a minute. Which command?
It's that mixed command of
The one in the
Zethan.
town,
It's
in the little
Hulsen.
village there.
Yeah.
Wholesome. That's the
Right,
one.
which I don't know he's going to do a whole lot with. They're all beaten to crap.
Yeah, they are pretty torn up. Let
Yeah.
me look. Who is? That's Holson. Is that? Wait a minute.
Yeah, so Holson's here, and then
Yeah.
yeah. So I can avoid doing anything on his side of the map with my
I'm looking at those guys. It's funny because they're called the Holson Musketeers, but
Yeah.
they're not part of Holson's command.
no, they're part of
I
I
was re-
think Brunswick,
Yeah, I guess I'm
Braunschweig.
confused.
That's Braunschweig.
Braunschweig. Let me take a look here. You're right. It probably wouldn't make much sense for them to do very much, especially as torn up as they are. I guess I've got some artillery of theirs I could move. And what's he got? Where's the rest of his? Oh, they're part of his cavalry is actually a long way from the rest of the.
Yeah, he's got one
outfit.
guy way out here.
That's right.
And the other
Yeah,
guy's here.
okay.
Yeah, he's still within
Okay.
range though. One,
Yeah,
two, three,
yeah,
four.
he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. No, that makes sense. All right.
So yeah,
Well,
I've
if
got
you want
plenty other
to.
stuff that I can move. So because I haven't
Okay.
moved any of my cavalry over there yet, and I wouldn't want to do that without Dave here. But I've got plenty of other things I can move in the meantime, provided I get an
Oh, you-
activation.
You haven't activated those guys over on the right. Oh, you haven't activated
I haven't
any of those
activated
guys over on
anybody.
the right.
I haven't moved
Wow.
a single unit yet this
No,
turn.
really?
Really?
Wow, that's nuts.
Yeah, you guys have
Okay.
gotten all the activations so far.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I like what you're talking about there. That
Yeah,
sounds good.
it
to
is
me.
what it is.
Wow.
Particularly since
Yeah.
I want to reshuffle the deck chairs on the Titanic here. So,
Do you?
yeah, of course.
Listen to you. You sounded like you're so getting beaten up, and you're so not.
Yeah,
whatever.
I've got some ideas of things to do, but
Do
I'm
ya?
not.
Do
Oh,
ya?
you bet. Don't count me out
Oh, you
yet.
betcha. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. We got the Swedes. We got our Swedish reinforcements coming. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, what is our delta between our?
I think it's a
ratings? Is it
+2 for the Prussians. You're 5 and I'm 3.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, then, if you want, I will chuck
Yep.
2
Go
dice.
ahead and throw some dice.
And we will eventually, at the risk of actually playing the game, play the game.
Oh my God.
That's going to be enough to move the end turn marker, and it is an activation for you.
And it's a wing activation, no less.
Is it? Well,
It
I guess it would
is,
be.
right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
twice.
Twice,
Yeah.
and it's higher than your wing activation
Yep, yep,
value. So
yep. I
yeah,
think my
all right.
wing
Well, there you go.
activation value for him is well, actually it's not on that, is it? That's just his army value. I think his wing activation value is like a 7 or something. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Wing activation is 7 for Don. And what is it?
Okay.
5 for it's 5 for Frederick.
Yeah, I think it's 5.
He's
It's
so
pretty
much
low.
better. All right. So I'm going to make hay while I can. I'm going to
Oh well.
activate um, Colorado's
Hmm.
wing, which is right here in the center. And that includes Puebla and Serene.
Okay.
And then while I'm at it, I'll activate some of my Grenzers and Grenadiers just to
Hmm.
do that. So I've got these Grenadiers that are out here in the hinterland by whatever, however you pronounce this little village, but they've got some of your people in their
Gretchen.
sights. Um,
Oh, those are Grenzers, not Grenadiers.
yeah, they're Grenzers. I do have a
Yeah,
Grenadier over here and some others. I can always wait on them.
I believe you.
Yeah, yeah. But we'll go ahead and we'll do some firing first. Do we do firing or do we do disorder recovery first?
Disorder recovery. I mean, well, first of all, just establishing who's in command, and
Right.
reasonable to
So
assume that
at
people
this
are.
particular point in time, um, everybody is in command.
I
So,
believe that.
yep, yep. So here's Puebla. The only people that are out of command are Puebla's people that are way over here that have been marching.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And we've got
All
a
right.
couple of those people. They're the only ones
Right.
that are out of
So
command.
they're out of command, and that's important to remember. And
Yeah.
then disorder recovery, and which I don't know that you
Yeah,
have
I don't
any,
have
but
any at this point in time, so it's just straight on to shooting at people, which is my
right.
favorite thing to do. So let's
Absolutely.
start with these two grenadiers. They're going to fire on this guy here.
Okay.
So I'm going to have 15 and 15. I'm going to have 30 to 10. That's going to be
Uh,
3-1. And I'm firing
well,
in
it's
on your
gonna.
flank, so I'm actually at 4-1 on the old shoot
Yeah.
shoot.
Right.
And I don't think there's any other modifier because you've only got 6 strength points, so I don't think there's anything else.
No. That should be it. I
Yeah,
mean,
so
and
it's
frankly, it's plenty.
all right. So it's a 4-1. Here we go. A 0-0. What does that do? Is that a miss or is that a special event?
It is a special result. It's a special infantry fire result,
All right. Yeah, yeah. If
which
anyone's going to do it, it's my Grenzers. All right. So it says free fire. Roll 2 times, and the firing units are disordered.
that pisses me off so bad because that uh, John's been doing the same thing with all of his skirmishers at Prague. Of course, they can't be disordered.
Right.
So
No, I
basically,
love
they
it.
just get to fire. They just get to fire twice, and
Oh
and
my
no
God.
penalty.
Okay. Well, here we go.
And
So here's the
that just
first
annoys the
4-1
hell out of
shot.
me.
A
All right,
69 at 4-1. That's going to be
two?
2 hits and a morale check plus 10.
No, it's a 69, so it's no morale check.
Oh, okay. Even if it says an
Just
M plus 10? It had to
oh
be, if
yeah,
it
yeah.
was a
It still
68, then
needs
it
to be
would
an
be.
even number.
Okay.
Still needs to be an even number. So
All right. So you're down
just
to 4
hit.
increments now. Well, it's still no
One,
modifier in the die roll.
yeah. Come on. There we go.
All
All
right.
right.
So here we go. Here's the next one. Another 69.
Well, we don't need to look it up.
Nope. There's not much left of that poor guy.
No. No.
All right. I love my Grenzers.
Sure.
Yeah, that's why I'm marching the other ones as fast as I can.
Yeah, and John was doing the same thing, and so he's got clouds of Grenzers now.
They are
He's got
I
Grenzers that came all the way from the left flank to go harass Albert's Prussians as they're attacking. And it's interesting. I'm trying to figure out, what do you do with them?
Yeah, they are the most Napoleonic element
Sure.
that we've got here, and I could see why they are so evil and why they then become a thing for the Napoleonic era, because
Right.
they're like,
Because
this is
they
pretty
were
sweet.
difficult.
Oh yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
were they were difficult to deal with, and um, it's interesting because I tried to figure out what are we modeling here.
Right.
We see the retreat before close combat, and we see that they can retreat 1 or 2 hexes, and they have to do a morale check at the end of their retreat, and they might become shaken, and usually their effectiveness ratings aren't very good,
Right.
and so they might have trouble getting unshaken. But the truth is, I mean, if somebody attacks them while they're shaken, okay, then maybe they're going to lose their next morale check and they'll be routed. But it's like, yeah, whatever. That's
Yeah.
the worst you were going to do to them, is just rout them and make them run away. They're difficult to do much with, and John has been rolling exceptionally well with a bunch of 40 effectiveness rating skirmishers. Very few of them have been going shaken, and the ones that go shaken have been rallying pretty fast.
Well,
And
and
so
they've got a
they're
times
just
five fire multiplier,
oh
which is
yeah,
better than my
absolutely.
grenadiers, for God's sake.
And the flexibility of being able to shoot in any direction.
Yep. Yep.
Because if those were all line units, even if they had times 5, it wouldn't have been as effective.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Speaking of my line units, I'm now going to move to this part of the world. You've got a
Okay.
cavalry unit, I think, that is within a range of 2 hexes for 1, 2, 3 of my infantry units.
Uh-huh. Yep.
So, and I can't combine the artillery with the infantry. Is that
That's
correct?
right.
Okay.
That's right. Yeah.
So I would have 4 and 4 is 8, and then is this then 2 more
Yeah,
or
it is 2 more because a total of 4 steps
fire
can
out?
fire, and
Okay.
2 of them are guns, and so the other 2 would have to be. But it turns out that doesn't matter because 10 times 2 is going to be 20, and 20 is all you needed anyway.
Okay. So it's a 2-to-1, and
Mhm.
there's no pluses or minuses because there's not much left of you.
It's a
So
size of 6, so
yeah.
yeah, there'd be no size modifier there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So
39 at 2-to-1 is a miss.
it's
Poof, poof.
nothing.
Nothing.
Okay.
All right. Then the
Well,
artillery can fire at you, right?
yeah. 3-pounders at
Um,
2 hex range.
and where are they? 3-pounders. They're going to be times 3. So that's going to be 6,
1 to
6
2.
to 10. So that's a
Yeah,
1 to
not very
2.
much there, so you're gonna need to roll pretty high.
Well, we got a
Or
special
you could
result
roll a
instead.
special result, in which case we don't know what you're gonna
It
get.
says high crops. If the target or fire hex is clear, re-roll and subtract 20 from the roll. Well, that's going to
Oh,
make it
well,
impossible to hit
I think you
anything.
can save yourself the trouble of rolling then,
Yeah.
because there's no way you can hit a 1 to 2 with minus 20.
Well, not unless
And
I
that
roll
must be
another
some,
special result thing,
but you
right?
can't roll a special result on a special result.
Oh, okay. Then I can't do a damn thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me
Yeah,
mark
and
him
all I can say
as.
is that is some tall ass grass if those medium cavalry are hiding in it. That is impressive.
All right. Well, it's either that or you guys are on little Shetland ponies there.
Oh, that could be it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
That
or
might
they're
explain why
dismounted. There's
5
not
of
much
these.
left of them.
I was going to say 5 of the 8 increments
Yeah.
are gone because they're on Shetland ponies.
Yeah.
That may be
So
the
here I got
problem.
1, 2, 3. We'll fire on that guy. And
Okay.
that's going to be
That's gonna
12,
be
right?
2 to
Yeah,
1.
12. So 2-to-1.
But it'll be
And
plus.
this guy will have you've got 7 increments, so you got 14 increments there. So that's going to be a plus 15. Yeah, so here we go. 2-to-1 with plus 15. 53, that's going to become a
68.
68 at 2-to-1. That's
gonna
enough
be
for a
one
hit.
Hit.
A hit, a palpable hit. We've got David joining us.
I'm shocked. I tell you.
Yeah.
He didn't text me. I didn't realize.
Oh, yeah.
I'm glad it's not just me. Sometimes Sunday nights surprise me.
Yeah, we chatted for about 40
45
minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. And we finally thought, well, let's just play this crazy game.
Exactly. All right. So now it's time to
So we're
move
actually
people,
doing
correct?
the first activation. He got a wing, so Colorado is
Yeah.
is
So I'm
active.
over here.
Right. So you've
Yeah.
done your firing. It's
Yep,
time
yep,
to
yep.
move.
I've done my firing. So now it's time to do movement. So how do we want to do that? Let's go ahead. I'm gonna move this guy forward. Do you want to do
Okay.
anything about it?
I don't think I can do anything about it.
Well, I mean, you could opportunity charge, I guess, if you wanted to, but
Mm, I guess I could. Huh. Not really sure how smart it would be, but it might be fun. Uh, what have I got? I only got 3 increments left. That's not great. Um, on the other hand, why the hell not?
that's
What
the
the hell?
attitude.
That is the attitude. Only cardboard dies today. And even at +10, I'm sure that's good enough, especially because the group they're from. So, boom. So there we go.
Okay.
And so now you need to roll defender morale check.
Do I fire opportunity fire as he moves?
No, because it's a charge. So no.
So there's no
You'll fire
opportunity fire during
There's
charge?
no opportunity fire during charges. You will get defensive fire when we close, but you don't get op fire because it's not regular movement.
Really?
I mean, you're welcome to look it up.
Yeah, no, I was under the impression that there was opportunity fire, but maybe because I spent a little bit of time trying to go through the primer to figure out some of the different stuff with some more. Of course, sometimes the example stops before it gets to where I really want it to.
Right. So if you look
Opportunity
in the
fire,
regular rules on
23.
page 33, and here I am again finding it within 20 seconds of looking for it, under 17.0, right? Under the introductory paragraph there under 17.0, the last sentence says it does not trigger opportunity fire or charge.
So it says here, oh, so, all right, because I'm not the reactive unit.
That's right, I am.
Right. So it does say, though, that, so if you were charging me, I could do opportunity fire if you were the phasing player and I'm the reactive player.
Well, yeah, because I wouldn't be charging you. I'd be moving.
No. But say it's your turn and you decide to charge me with your cavalry. I would get opportunity fire at you.
No, you don't.
It says right here it happens during the movement segment. Oh, the movement segment only.
The movement segment,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
Right. So,
Okay.
so the only time opportunity fire happens is during the other guy's movement segment, but charging happens on the close combat segment, and you're gonna get defensive fire at him anyway.
Okay.
And I think the other presumption is that charge movement is faster.
Right.
You're gonna get fewer shots at these guys because they're moving at you faster than they would if they were just moving.
Okay. Cool.
So all right, so then you're gonna do, and I think it's funny the way the order goes, but it does make a certain amount of sense in some circumstances. So you're gonna do a defender morale check first.
Okay.
Now, the only time that it actually matters, the order of operations, is if you were shaken already, because you would actually take your morale check and perhaps rout away without even getting the chance to do defensive fire.
Right.
But of course, since you're not shaken, you're not going to go all the way to routed. Well, maybe some special result, maybe, but I don't even think that would do it.
We
So
rolled
you're
enough
going to-
zeros, so yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
You're going to get your defensive fire, but the morale check does happen first.
Okay, so let's roll for that. Special results.
Okay, what did you say about rolling a lot of zeros?
Yeah, I seem to be on fire. So this is
Holy
a
moly.
morale check, pre-close
It's a morale
combat.
check B. Yeah, it's a morale check B, and it is 0-4 for the
Right. So it
Austrians.
says if I'm with a leader, minus 15, but I'm not. Otherwise,
Oh,
reroll with a plus 10.
okay,
All
so
right. So
reroll with
let's
a plus
reroll an
10.
11. So I'm
Oh,
going to be shaken.
you are shaken.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Let's find
And
the marker for that.
and
Okay.
the amusing part about that, of course, is that shaken doesn't do anything to impact your gunfire capability.
Correct.
So you've got, and are these guys, are they threes or are they threes?
They are Fusiliers,
Yeah, so
and they
three.
are going to be times 3. So that's
Okay.
going to be 12
It's going to be
to, so 1 to 1.
1, and it's going to be plus 10 because it's defensive fire against cavalry. That's
Okay.
just, yeah, and that's kind of the whites of the eyes effect,
Right.
right? And no size modifier for the same reason
Right.
there wasn't a size modifier earlier. And so really it's just going to be 1 to 1 plus 10.
Here we go. Oh, 18. That's not very
Oi,
good. So that's a
oi.
miss.
Okay, wow. Okay. So this is getting like more complicated all the time. So the odds are 3-7. So that's 1-3, which are, not supreme odds for, the good guys, but
Okay.
whatever. And then let's see, if I flip my unit over, I see that my printed value is 5. It's -2 because I'm half dead. So it's just +3 really. It's plus, hold on. Yeah, +5, -2 for half dead, +2 for being heavy cavalry, plus another 1 for having charged 1 hex. So I think it's 4.
So you even get that even in the opportunity charge.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
still charged you, right? I still have impetus and momentum. But of course it's only for the first round.
Okay.
But yeah, absolutely. So I think I'm +4 on mine. And then
Okay.
you
I'm
are
3, but I'm shaken, which is going to then make me a minus
-5.
5. So I'm minus 2.
Okay.
So
So
you're
it's
at, you got a plus 6,
one
it sounds like, right?
1 to 3 plus 6 is what I come up with. That's
Okay.
right. So let's try that and see how badly I can botch this.
Well, roll a 0.
Oh,
Oh,
I
that's not
didn't
bad.
botch
So that's going to
this.
be a 9.
That's a 9.
So that's going to be
1D1R.
1D1R.
Fascinating. I kind of did this charge in hopes I could route away. But it doesn't seem to be working out for me. On the other hand, I guess I can just keep plowing my way forward. I mean, I don't know.
All right. And let's see. I'm then going to mark myself as routed. Okay. All right. And then I've got to go back 1, 2, 3,
1, 2, 3,
4.
4.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, right back there.
There you go. You probably want to ditch the shaken marker because it's just going to
Oh,
confuse
okay.
you. Okay, and then I am obliged to advance. Whoops. Not just the disordered marker, but even the cavalry unit are obliged to advance and face in such a way as to be able to follow you, but it doesn't matter because I can't follow you because I'm in your zone of control. You're in my zone of control. So
Right.
we'll just stop right there.
Cool.
Good times. Good
Now,
times.
you didn't have to attack that other one next to him?
That's a really interesting question. I don't know. I might have needed to actually. Since it was an opportunity fire or an opportunity charge, I wasn't really thinking about it. I was thinking I was opportunity charging a specific unit, but you could very well be right. I maybe was supposed to attack them both. I don't know what that would do. I don't know if that would just make it worse, frankly, for the defenders.
Well, you can't. What happens if you are lower than 1 to 3 odds?
That's a great question, and I'm not sure that I know. I know you don't do fire combat at less than 1 to 3, but I don't know specifically about close combat. It might be that close combat needs to be
Yeah,
at
because
least
then
1
you'd
to 3
have
also.
you'd be
Yeah,
at what,
I would have been.
14
I would have
to
been.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you'd
would have
be
been
way
nowhere
off the mark.
close. Uh, no, that's a good question. I'm sorry you didn't mention it earlier, David.
I just noticed it.
Well, we could.
Well,
We're not that far into it. We can figure this out. Hey,
yeah,
we've got Wardrobe Plays WW2. Good evening, Wardrobe.
oh,
So
wardrobe.
Wardrobe, and he's got a little Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Bathing. What is it? That I guess you'd call it a bathrobe.
Bathrobe.
Did you ever see Hitchhiker's
Oh,
Guide to the
yes,
Galaxy? Poor Arthur Dent travels around the galaxy
no.
with a
Arthur Dent. Yes.
Arthur Dent.
Yes. I never saw any of the films. I've read all the books many times. But
I didn't see
never
the
saw
film,
any
but
of
I
the
did
films.
see the BBC TV version
Oh,
of
okay.
it,
Well,
which
that
was
good.
which was cute. So
Upcharge procedure, upcharge close combat. When an upcharge is executed against an active stack that does not contain both moving and non-moving units, that is to say, all movements are moving, it is resolved as a regular close combat, except the process is as follows. When the defender's hex contains both non-moving and moving units, then close combat result is applied to the entire stack. If the active unit wins the combat, when an active stack of both moving and well, it's really funny because it keeps acting like there's just a defender's hex in the text here. Maybe that's where I was getting the idea that I was really just attacking the hex.
well, I got the primer here. Let me take a look and see if it's got.
Yeah, take a
anything
look and
that's-
see if you can see something along those lines. If they give an
Opportunity
example.
charge, page 26, page 76. Yeah, the only thing that I found with it was like it says this and this, and then it doesn't carry on with the rest of
Right.
the thing. I'm like, well, how did the combat get resolved and stuff? So
Right.
okay, it's got the morale checks. That's fine. We don't want the morale checks. We want to see what happens next. Opportunity charge.
Again, it's so funny because like under 17.2D, when splitting stack triggers the op charge, the charging player has the option to resolve the close combat against the original stack, that is to say, before the triggering movement, facing, or formation change, or after the split, as the units are arranged between moving and non-moving units. It keeps on acting like the combat is against your target, not against everybody who's in your zone of control. And by the way, I kind of agree with you, David. It seems like if this were regular combat, that other cavalry unit would be involved. But the rules don't seem to be doing a very good job of making that clear. They're acting like I can focus on my target, which I'm not sure I'm comfortable with.
Yeah,
Even though I can't
upcharge.
come up with anywhere where it says that. In fact, it even... Oh, here it is. I found it. I know it had to be here.
Where are you at?
17.3A, item 1. Individual combat designation. Remember that all enemy units, even if they are not activated, that are in the op charges unit's front hexes must be attacked. I am way happier having found that. It was gonna bother me if I didn't find that. Okay.
So is that the case where you'd have to melee both of them?
Yeah, no question that I would have to. And I'm confident that if I scroll back here, we'll probably find something about determining the odds. Individual combat designation, that's not it. Here we go. Odds ratio. 1311A, strength points. I'm looking for anywhere where it suggests that for each full ratio above 6-to-1 odds, the attacker adds 1 to his die roll. For each full ratio below 1-to-3, the defender adds 1 to his die roll. Thus, 8-to-1 odds would add +2 to the attacker's die roll, while 1-to-4 would add 1 to the defender's die roll. Okay, that's good defined.
Okay. Yeah.
So that means they could have attacked, but as you say, it was going to be 3-to-14.
Yep.
So it would have been 1-to-5. So it would have been -2.
Well, would the modifiers change because the other one is shaken and disordered?
Oh, you're right. You know what? It wouldn't have been 14 because he's disordered. He would have only been 4. So it would have been 3-to-11.
Right. So that's 4 to
So it would have
1.
been 1-to-4. So it'd be +1 to the defender die roll, and then he's a 4.
Yep. And the infantry was a
5.
3.
Oh yeah. Well, let's just hold that number because he was a -2. That was his ultimate number, was -2. Let's just remember that number because we're going to average it with
Okay.
this guy's number. And he is 4. He's heavy cavalry, so he's +2, even though he's just standing there.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's 6. 6 -5 for shaken. So he's a 1.
Okay.
And 1 averaged with -2 is going to get us, I think, 0, isn't it? Because it's going to get us -1/2, which is going to round up to 1 or
Okay.
round up to 0.
Yep.
So that's going to change the die roll by how much more?
It's going to affect
2?
it 3, right?
Well, a
'Cause if
total of 3. 1 for the odds and 2 for the
yeah.
averaging of the defenders. So it would be a 6. So it'd be a morale check instead of a 1d1R. You want to just
Okay.
play it that way?
Yeah, let's do that. So then what do we need to do? So
Well, so then I would need to do my morale check first because I was the attacker.
okay.
So I'll do my morale check first. Going to be the usual +10 for being half dead. Okay, no problem. Now each of your stacks needs to do a morale check. No particular order, it doesn't matter.
Okay. We'll roll for the cavalry first. And I don't know. They're going to have a -15 or
Oh,
something?
they're going to have a
Yeah, they're going
plus
to
15,
rout,
15.
right?
Right. And of course we've already rolled for your other guy. So honestly, probably he ought to route too.
Well, we haven't rolled for him yet because
Oh, yeah, we did.
when did we do that?
We did when he. Oh, you're right. That was a route from the table. That wasn't a roll.
Yeah.
Route. My bad. So yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So route those guys away to take a increment loss and run away 6 hexes, and then you're right. You'll roll for these other guys.
Okay. All right.
What a fiasco!
1, 2, 3, 4.
This is
5,
the battle
6.
I didn't want to have.
Well, and yet here
That's
we go.
actually very interesting.
All right.
Oh,
And
it
so
is.
then for this chap, here we go.
Right?
He's in.
He is in. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now we go to the second round. The second round is a little different because I don't get my +2 for cavalry.
Right.
I don't get my +1 for charge momentum. And this rarely comes up, but if you look under the close combat modifiers on the close combat chart, you will see that line infantry gets a +2 defending against cavalry in refights.
Oh, okay.
So not only does the cavalry lose a lot of its benefits from the first fight, but the defenders actually gain benefits.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, so that's a big and dramatic change. It's always kind of high stakes poker to attack infantry, right? Because
Okay.
they could turn the tables on you. Okay, so I've got
So you're not disordered though.
I'm not disordered,
Right.
no, and I'm actually only got 4 step losses.
Right. Yeah.
Just to
So
increase that.
so I will
So
have 3 plus 2. I will have 5 for my infantry, and then -5 for being shaken. So I'm at 0
right
still.
to be 0, and
Yep.
then I'm basically just at my 5 minus 2 for being half dead, so I'm at 3.
All right.
All
And
right,
you're still at 3 to 7. So it's
it's
still a
3 to
1 to 3
7.
odds.
It's
Or
still 1 to 3, but it's plus 3 now,
okay.
right?
Yep.
Okay, 1 to 3 plus 3. Good heavens, we may only get through one activation tonight, but it'll be a really interesting
Well, this is why I
activation.
wanted to kind of do this, just to kind of see, because we haven't done
How does this
in
work?
Prague. We never had any cavalry versus infantry, and so I'm really
That's right.
curious to see how it works out. So even if it's a stupid
Right.
move that I did, I'd rather try it out. So
No. And first of all, I don't think it was a stupid move. In fact, I was pretty sure I'd done a stupid move by leaving disordered cavalry so close to your infantry line.
well,
Because
you
you were going
charged
to do
me.
exactly
Yeah.
you were
So
going to do exactly what he did.
yeah.
You were going to do exactly what you did, which is you're going to advance the infantry because I can't react to it. And then I thought, oh wait, I do have one guy who can react, even though it's suicidal. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. We'll see. 1 to 3 plus 3.
So
Uh
another good
oh,
roll. So that's going to
another
be
good roll.
5 plus 3. So you're going to have 8.
So that is almost back to the same result we started
Yep.
with. So that's going to be 1D, 1R. So I'll go ahead and re-increment that guy, and I will disorder him, and you will re-increment that guy and
Yep.
reroute him.
All
What
right.
a
1, 2, 3,
fiasco!
4. Cool.
And I have to advance, and I have to stop,
Right.
and so then we're done.
Right.
And we're not even out of your movement phase.
Yeah. No. Yeah, we're not.
Good times.
Indeed.
Okay.
All right.
What's next?
So what's next is I'm going to the infantry unit that's here. I'm going to extend it out into this hex. Can I do that? Even though it's
Sure.
into a zone of influence?
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Well, no. No, you're welcome to.
Okay. Well, that's
There's
what I was
nothing they
curious
can do
about.
about it. They're disordered. They can't stop you from
Okay.
doing anything.
All right. Well, that's what I wanted to find out because I wasn't sure
All right.
how that
So
worked.
you're just filling in the
Whoops.
gap.
Yep.
Mind the gap.
All right. Come on. the whole unit moved.
I mean, I guess to be fair, it would cost you 3 to do it.
Right.
Because it would ordinarily cost you the cost of the hex plus 1 to extend. It's going to be plus another one because it is an enemy zone of control.
Right.
So there you go. And if I weren't disordered, yeah, I would have upcharged you,
Right.
or could have upcharged you, but
Right.
obviously aren't going to now.
Okay.
So good times.
Indeed.
I like all that huge block of routed markers.
Yeah. They're there for a
That's
reason.
that's
They are the second line of defense. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
and increasingly distant
yeah.
second line.
They're not there by
Leaving
accident.
maneuvering room
Yeah.
for everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
It's
that's
not by accident that they're there. Yeah.
good.
So. All right.
Goodness.
Well, we are going to. I'm going to move Sir Baloney out of the way, or the replacement for Sir Baloney.
Oh, that's right, because
Yeah.
he's whacked, isn't
Yeah,
he?
that's his replacement, who's even more incompetent than the average
You remember,
Austrian
though?
leader.
I remember though at my Battle of Leuthen, he was the hero.
There you go. There you go. All right. I'm going to then advance this, so I can advance. Yeah, I'm just gonna push
Sure.
these little guys forward here, I guess.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
And that should then make your life slightly challenging.
Yeah, I expect so.
And then what can I do? Then this guy. So it costs 2 to move there, correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
All right. And then if I put him into a hook thing, then that would
That'd
cost
be
1
3.
more.
Yep, that's right.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do a little hook thing.
Okay, good.
Yep. Left hook. Perfect.
A
Okay.
little hook thing.
Yeah. Well, I'm so used to like Lobatai.
Oh, I know,
That's
where it's
covered.
automatic
It
assumed.
saves me
Right.
a lot of trouble having to do stuff.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And then who are we dealing with? We've got some of SI. Yes, SI is going to move up. 1, 2, 3, 4 gets them there. Right. And
You sure you can do that? That's oblique marching.
Yeah.
I thought doesn't it cost me 2 to move into the hex if I'm going obliquely? Right. So if it's 1 and then 2, 3 and then 4, right? Isn't it? Don't I spend 2?
That's a fair question. I don't. It's probably worth a double check because I'm not sure. Well, and lo and behold, the thing just falls right open. Okay.
At this point, your book knows what's happening. It's got its
seems
own
to,
AI.
Yes. Infantry in line or attack column formation may oblique move by not alternating the next hex moved into, but all terrain costs for that hex and hexside cross are increased by 1. A unit may oblique as far as it wishes until it exhausts its movement allowance. A unit may combine straight and oblique moves during its movement. So I think what I'm hearing you suggest is that you really should only ever have to pay for that every other hex at the worst, because half the time you're just zigging.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to zig.
Yeah.
Um,
that was my understanding of it when I read the rules.
Yeah.
So
I think
moving here just cost me 1, but moving here cost
Right.
me 2,
Right.
and then moving here cost me 1.
Right. And then if you moved again, that would be 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you could just move.
I mean, I could always go
northwest, and it would
1,
just be
then I
one
could
more.
turn 2, and then I could turn
Yeah.
again 3.
Yeah,
I mean, I could still get there with 4 movement
Right.
points is
Right.
really what
Right.
it all boils down to.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's so rare that it comes up that people keep doing it that way. But I think that's a reasonable interpretation.
Okay, cool. I like being reasonably interpreted.
Yeah.
All right. Then this guy's going to just do the same thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4 to get over there. All right.
Okay.
And then I'm going to bring up some of his other troops. So we have.
Now in the primer, it shows +1 for both of them.
Okay, let's take a look, because even though I'm okay with the idea, but I'm also okay with the possibility that it's not.
Page 15.
15. Thank you.
Time to worry.
Yeah. That's okay. You had a way to get around it.
Yeah, I could still get
But-
there.
But 15 is 15, really?
I don't see it on page 15. That's fire combat and stuff.
Is there more than one version of the? Did they?
Yeah, I think I have the most recent one. This is a
Well, no, but I don't. That's my point.
Yeah.
Mine's from many years ago. Oblique.
Yeah, it's 11. Well, let's see what is it. 3B line formation.
Line formation 3B.
So that's page
good, yep.
13 in my book. Is that page 13 for you?
3B starts at 13 for me, yes, but it goes on several pages.
Okay, so oblique
Oh,
movement.
yes, you're right. That is it. It is page 13, and there's that French unit middle left of the
Yeah.
diagram.
Yep, I see it.
And it is +1 to the second movement as well. It's not just the first one, so it's not alternating.
Okay.
All right.
So,
So what that
yeah.
means is what I was. Oh, I see. But you really want to fill both of those hexes. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They'd have to rapid march. I mean, it's not the end of the world.
Well, I don't know why they would have to rapid march, right?
Well,
Because
try it.
he could go here 1, right here, and then he could turn to face this
Hold,
thing, and
hold,
then
hold, hold
that's
on. Hold on. I'm pretty sure you just moved a guy off the line.
I pulled everybody back, right? All.
Oh, was that Puebla guy back there?
Oh no, you're right. So no, Pueblo is not. It's this guy
Right.
here.
There
Yeah.
we go. That's more like it. Okay.
So
Yes.
he
So
could go
so
here, so that's 1. Then he
that's one.
faces
Yes.
that hex vertex,
Yes.
that's
That's
2.
two.
Then he
Yep.
moves here, that's 3. Then he
Yes.
faces this hex vertex, that's
4.
4.
4. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
And
Yeah.
then it'll be 5 to get where you want to go.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think ultimately you can't get there without rapid marching.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to risk it given how less than stellar I am. So I will just get
But
to
but
here.
that
I'll
one,
have this
I
guy.
was going to say that one actually could.
Well, why could how could he? Oh, because he could go
If he
this
goes
way.
boom,
1, 2,
boom,
3. Oh
boom.
yeah.
He
Okay.
could get there, but then then his flank's
1,
open.
2,
But I mean, I don't
3.
think you care about the flank being open. There's a 6-pounder in your flank, right?
Yeah,
So good luck coming up and taking him out, right?
yeah. So
Right. So he's fine getting there, no problem. And, if you want to just bring the other guy up a little or whatever.
let's see. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, everybody else is a little further back, right? Yep. So 1, 2. Hmm. All right, this guy's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 gets him there.
Right.
Okay. All right. And then this guy can go 1, 2, 3. Or he can go, I guess he could go 1, 2, 3, 4 and get himself there.
Sure. Sure.
Yeah,
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 you
yeah,
can
yeah.
make yourself a second line back there.
Okay. Cool. And let's see.
Nobody stacked under a Puebla.
No one's stacked under Puebla currently, so which is fine. Let's see here. All right, I've got these guys back here. So I don't know why they got turned the direction they were going because that's not how they were moving, but what the heck. So they're going to have to turn. So that's going to be 1. And that's going to be 2 to get them there. And then, so 2 gets them there. No, 2 gets them there. And then,
Yeah, I must have 2 extra pages of information in my primer there.
all right, and then,
Yeah, well, I thought there were probably a few updates before they reprinted it. And I thought about, do I want to get a new copy of it? But I thought, actually, I decided I didn't want to get a new copy of it, in part because so many people were wailing and crying for so many years about not being able to get one of the originals. and I thought, I can live without it.
Yeah,
This way,
see,
other people who want one can get one.
yeah, I bought mine as a PDF, and
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it actually automatically it notified me that there was an update to it,
Oh,
and I could
that's
download it.
great. That's nice.
But yeah, I don't know if you can get it as a PDF anymore.
I don't know, especially since they actually printed some real ones. They probably are less interested in giving you the PDF now because they've got actual money sunk into these
Right.
into these paper copies that by God wants you to buy them.
All right. So I
What are we?
think I'm moving those guys that were out of command that were part of Puebla's
Oh, the
people.
guys way back
Yeah.
in the boondocks. Yeah, okay.
They will show up just in the nick of time.
They'll be the rear guard.
Yep, that's the plan. That is the
Perfect.
plan. So,
Okay.
all right.
Yeah, actually, mine is the 2022 edition.
Ooh. Mine
Very
isn't.
special.
The original copyright is 2017. So
Bet that's true. Yeah, because I mean, I think it came out the same time as Fontenoy, right?
Yeah, I think
Wasn't
that was
that
the idea.
that's what all the examples were from Fontenoy?
Yes, which was annoying because it's all French and British stuff, and almost all the other things are all Prussian and
Not.
Austrian stuff.
Yeah. Well,
So,
I don't know. I mean, in terms of just explaining concepts, I think it ultimately didn't much matter.
yeah, I concur.
Got the point across.
Okay, the point across in the end.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think the last thing I'll do, this guy here, he's going to extend his line a little bit.
There you go.
So we have,
Stretching that thinning line out.
there you go, just like my hairline when I was 20 years
Yes.
old. This is the Austrian comb over. All right, let's see
I am
here.
so grateful that my bald spot is where I can't see it.
Yeah,
myself. I
yeah.
know it's back there, but I don't have to deal with it on a daily basis.
All right, so now let me just make sure everybody's where they need to be. So they
Yeah,
are
where's it?
all more or less in places where they can. They're still all in command, right? There's Sincere. Yep, everybody's set. Puebla's got everybody in command, except for the guy who just routed away. Well, even he's in command. So,
Wow.
all right. All right.
That's
So let's go ahead and flip that, and we'll flip the other leaders.
top drawer
And
stuff when you are so prepared to lose that even the router guys are in command. That is
hey, that's the story of my life.
that is some genius stuff there.
All right. It's time for me to roll the dice. Let's see if I can
What?
get another 0 result. That seems to be how we're doing stuff. We have LBW Strategy Gaming chimes in saying, "Hello, love the video and this series." Well, thank you so much. We are having fun playing it, and we're glad that you guys can put up with all of our silly banter while you wait for us to actually start playing. So
Yeah.
here we go. Let's roll the dice for the next potential command. And what do you know it? It's another special whoop-de-doo.
So that's an Austrian 4.
Let's see, is this where I fall off my horse or something?
I hope so. Yeah, that's my
Command confusion, of course. I'm used to this
Nice.
one. Pick one of your commands, which may be finished. No, the other player picks one. Okay.
right.
So
We
you
pick
guys go ahead
one
and
of
pick one.
yours, which may be finished, and this is one of those you roll twice
Yep.
for initiative,
Yep.
and so it behooves us to pick with that in mind. Let's Seems like. I mean, some of his cavalry commanders are lousy enough that it might be okay to do it with them, honestly.
That is the story of my life.
I mean, I'd kind of as just a matter of personal pride, I don't flip over enemy commanders before I make this decision, but I do seem to recall that they're not very good. And he pointed out to me earlier, Eric pointed out to me earlier that he hadn't activated any of his cavalry over here on the right. So I thought, well, making them stop would be fun. Making them not be able to attack would be fun. Give you another chance to whack at them.
Yeah. What
I
did
don't-
he? Oh, I think he was trying to think of what he.
So we got H and M over there on the right.
Right. You got
But
Haddock and Morocco, or
Right.
Morox.
Morox.
Moraz.
I need to. Right. Though, I mean, that seems like the most obvious one to me because it's not really super clear what else would really be
Nothing's going to
beneficial.
inconvenience me as much as something happening over there.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean,
Like
yeah, the
you
only
do something
other
to my
one-
infantry line, oh, big deal. It's pretty
right.
much
Or,
already
you
where it
know,
needs to be.
And Veed is the only other one where there clearly is some maneuvering still happening, but it's so far away that who cares if it happens this turn or next turn. So I don't know, David. That's my take on it. I would pick one of those two, whichever one. I mean, since you've already activated over there yourself, right?
Yeah, he's done
Yes.
everything
Yeah.
except for who's it? Hulson.
Wholesome, right?
Yep.
So really, I would just say which one would be most inconvenient for him if he suddenly couldn't do it.
It looks like possibly Haddock would be the very inconvenient one.
Works
Okay.
for me.
All right.
Works for
So let me
me.
go ahead and I will roll for Haddock. He is
Roll
a
Haddock
6.
twice.
Oh, he's good.
Oh, he failed and passed.
All right. So he does activate half movement.
So what does that mean? His units can only move half their
No,
movement?
exactly. It
Oh.
means everything is the same, except during the movement segment they can only move half their normal movement.
Okay.
That's why you often use it against, reinforcements coming in. Like we used it against Puebla a bunch of times
Right.
because of, just to make those guys marching in slow down.
Yeah, and he actually got pretty good results on that. So,
Or if you get lucky, the guy's just finished and no activation.
mhm.
So you're right. In this case, doesn't mean as much because half movement, you're not going to move that much anyway,
Yeah.
unless you want to run for it.
Well, I'm not going to be able to do that very easily.
No, you're not. I guess you can't run for it then.
Yeah.
Never mind.
So, actually, I didn't really have a whole hell of a lot I was going to do with it. So you didn't really inconvenience me very much.
What a shame.
Yeah. So we'll just, can I activate anybody else while at the same time, like this grenadier, or I have to wait until another turn to activate him?
Well, we'd have to read the exact text.
Well,
think
don't
you
worry
can.
about it.
Usually you can't with these things because unless it's an independent unit stacked with the
With
leader
the
or
leader.
one
Oh,
of the
okay.
units from the command,
Yeah,
you
that's
could
what
activate
that's,
independent
that,
units otherwise, but
yeah.
with a special event, you usually can't.
All right. Well, that was my roll. Oh, I guess I have to roll again now for something real.
Oh, yeah.
So here we go. And that's one for you guys. And it's a wing
Oh.
activation if you've got any wings left.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to have to look. We'll see. I don't know. Do we have any wings left? There's Holson by himself. There's, I think Penavere's already gone.
Yeah, I did my wing, or
Right. And
my infantry
then-
wing.
Oh, no, that's part of. Oh, that's Ponvitz. And there's Monstein,
Right.
and
You got
there,
Bevern, right?
yeah, that's the one that I'm thinking is still. I'm actually looking for Bevern, trying to find him.
Um,
I see all of his commanders. I'm looking for him.
yeah, I see Ponwitz. I see Manstein. I
Then
see Puttkamer.
Puttkamer. Where?
He's here under this
Where?
artillery unit.
Oh, thank goodness. Well, that explains why we couldn't find him. So, okay. Well, then I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Um, so that's going to be uh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he's in Reach of the King. So he's in command. I don't need to roll for it. So we'll just go ahead and activate, and he
Is
can
there a
reach.
reason to do it as a wing?
No, no. Um, so if we want, we could just do it and try to stretch it out.
That's
I mean, I think he's gonna get all the activations
Yeah, I
he
think
wants.
he
But
will.
you're right. We could and probably should stretch it out. Um, so if I'm gonna do that, then I will do Monstein first. Yeah, yeah, we'll go ahead and do Monstein first because what the hell? All right, so let's see. First things first, everybody's in command. Yes, they are. And then let's see, I need to roll disorder recovery. We'll start with this guy here. And
He should be happy.
he is undisordered. And then we'll roll for this next guy here. And even though it's going to be plus 15 because he's in an enemy zone of control, still going to be enough. So he is down to shaken. And that's part of Ponvitz's command. And so is that. So I'm not going to roll for those guys. Okay, so that's done there. And so we can go on to fire combat. And let's see, we've got these two guys here. That's going to be 4 times 4, and that's going to be 3 times 4. So 7 times 4 is 28 against these guys here. You're in the sunken road. I don't remember. There's an effect of that.
There is. So being in the sunken road, my fire defense is 15.
Okay, yeah, I believe that. So it's 1.5 to 1.
1.5 to 1 with a minus.
Can't quite reach 2.
Minus 10 for being
Minus
skirmisher.
10 for skirmishers, right? So let's see what we get here. Yeah, very nice. And then the next one here, that's going to be 2 times 4 is going to be 8. 8 to, on keyboard. That's going to be 8 to 10, going to be 1 to 1.5 minus 10. Boy, that's almost a waste of time, especially knowing how I roll. Yep. So that was easy. And then, I don't know, I had some fun with the artillery last time.
Yeah, you actually hit somebody.
I know, if I especially because at this range, I can actually fire from 2 different hexes because I'm inside minimum range.
Oh, yeah.
So
you got a 6-pounder and a 12-pounder.
Yeah, and 3 hex range. And what's that going to get me? 6 and a 12 at 3 is going to be, what is it, 5 and 4?
So 5 and 4, correct. So you'll have 10, you'll have 18. So 18 to 10. So that's a 1.5 to 1.
The village is just 10.
Yeah, the village is just 10.
Defense. Yeah. All right. So it's 1.5 to 1. So I guess it's better than what it would have been if
Yeah,
I was
with a
firing
minus 10.
on -10. All right. So we'll do that. Boom. And my die
37, that's
rolling
nothing.
never disappoints. You might think that was disappointing, but no. All right. So then I'm gonna.
So mark them as finished, I guess.
Oh yeah, sure. And then those are Ponvitz guys. Those are guys that are Ponvitzes. There, that's what I meant to say, I'm sure. And those are Ponvitz guys, so I kind of want to get out of the way. All right, so I'm going to do this. Oh. I'm at my workstation and I realized that this keyboard just never connects to my personal laptop. It only connects to my work laptop. So
Oh, interesting. Oh, so you're trying to
keep
tap
reaching.
on it?
I keep reaching for the wrong keyboard and I'm like, what is it? What? Okay. All right.
So are you doing a wing activation then after all?
No. This is just Monstein. These two guys over here.
Oh, they're way over there. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I guess I will just do this and this and this and this. And let's just call that good. And what else? I will go ahead and attempt close combat. I just did it again. Just clicked with the wrong keyboard. Go ahead and attempt close combat with this guy. Gonna go ahead and
All
roll
right.
for his
See if he disorders again.
or goes shaken. No, he doesn't. And so then you need to do whatever you need to do.
I'm going to retreat one single hex.
I'm shocked. I tell you.
I know.
And you need to roll your morale check.
Here we go. And I'm happy.
All right, very good. All right, and we're done.
Cool. David, you showed up just in time to roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Roll the dice.
Right.
Move the mice.
Boom.
Oh, another special.
5 for the Austrians.
What is this?
Free combat.
Free fire combat. And that would be anybody who's in with a command, right?
So it is, you select a commander.
Yep.
Any of the units within his range or any independents stacked with the units that are within his command, within his range.
All right, we're going to fire good old Fehrenstein, our favorite man over here with his 12 pounders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can hit those poor bastards there. Yeah, that looks as good a target as anything else. So I got 4 and a range of 8 is 4. So that's going to be 16 to 10. That's going to be 1.5 to 1.
Plus 15?
No, plus 20. Right? You've got 8 increments there, so it's 16 increments or strength points, so it's a plus 20. So really? Here we go. Let's see what we can score. 97 plus 20. Well, that's going to be 105. So that's 3 hits, and you'd make a morale check if it was on it even. So that's 3 hits. It's kind of making things a little hot there for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right, and let's grab I'll just grab a little marker and set it down there so we know that he got that free shot.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, because that's one you can only do once.
Yeah. And what's the range of these guys? My 3-pounders. I guess I could fire my 3. No, I can't do anything. So there's no point because I got a 3-pounder here that could potentially fire, but I can't.
Right.
I can't do anything with you with the fire defense of 15. So, okay, cool. David, roll
David.
again.
Roll again. Let's see if I can do some more damage.
Well, it's an activation
Source
for the
up.
Prussians.
It is an activation for the Prussians. Yes, it is. And
It's not enough to move the clock.
does not move the clock, right? Yeah.
Not
I had to
quite.
double check that. That's what happens when you play 3 different bar battles at the same time, interleaved. It's like, what number am I doing? Okay. You've just got Hulson left, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
And we can go for it if you want.
Yeah, sure, go ahead. You can. You showed up. I mean, I think the least you can do is
Try and do
Actually,
something.
move somebody.
yeah.
All right. Let's see. I don't think I have any disorders over here. Let's see, what do I have any fire combats? I don't think I'm close enough for any of those. So let's see what I want to do for movement.
Guess I'm just at the very least move those guns up.
Yeah. There. Move into there.
Oh, and I guess you got those 2 heavy cavalry units that are
Yeah.
probably in command.
They can do that. Let's see.
You could probably vaporize those light cavalry right in front of you.
Well, that's a point that I'm looking at. And I can, you can attack a stack with more than one stack, right?
Certainly.
Yes.
I'm not sure I
I've
follow
sure
your
tried it.
meaning.
Well, in the regs that we're doing, you can only attack one stack with one other stack.
Oh, interesting.
So what you're saying is you have a heavy cavalry there and a heavy cavalry there, and then they both charge here. Right? Is that what you're saying? And
Yep.
the 2 hexes
Yep.
are attacking the 1 unit?
Well, they'll both charge and see if they can both pass their.
Right. But presuming that, so you're,
Yeah.
Right.
yeah. I don't see why that you couldn't do that. I'm not aware of.
I can kind of understand the rationale that especially if it's a continuous line of defenders, it doesn't really make sense to get 2 units ganging up on 1 unit. I mean, how does that make any sense, right? You're going to shoot at the guy straight across from you. There's no doubling up. But in this case, especially because this guy has got an open flank on his left, you could kind of overlap him and hit him with 2 units. Does that make sense? Don't misunderstand me. It's absolutely okay in the rules for 2 hexes to attack 1. Absolutely okay.
Yeah.
As long as they're,
I thought it was, but so.
as long as everybody that needs attacking is getting attacked, then
Right.
if there's 2
Right.
hexes that are free to do nothing but attack somebody, absolutely go for it.
So he'll move there, there.
But on Constant World, they were talking about
there.
having a house rule, basically, of when you've got 2 lines of infantry that basically individual hexes have to shoot at individual hexes. You can't do what we all do,
Right.
which is gang together 2 or 3 hexes to fire at 1 hex, because in real life that would never happen.
Right.
Especially if you're at 1 hex range. It really doesn't make any sense. Okay, everybody, I know there are guys right in front of you, but turn 45 degrees to your left. Fire at those. It's like, what are you talking about? I'm not gonna do that.
They're not Romans after all.
Interesting.
All right. What else?
Can he charge from there?
No,
He doesn't have a line of sight.
you can't see anybody.
All right, so I have to move all the way up to.
I'm not even sure that's good enough.
Yeah, because your other unit's still blocking it. So I mean, you can only attack me from here. Yeah.
There. Yeah, I think it's got to be there.
Okay.
And of course, when you move there, the Austrians can upcharge.
Right. But then I'd have to fight both of them anyway.
Yep.
Yep.
So I will
That's
wait and
assuming.
see. I will wait and see how it
Okay,
goes. There's
wait and
there's a
see.
chance he could fail his
That's right.
his
Absolutely.
close
They're
combat
both.
roll.
Absolutely.
It's a slim chance, but it's a chance.
It's a chance.
That's-
Am I in with a chance?
Let's see, what else do we have here? What else we got here? Boy, that's. Actually, let's see. Do I want to? I turned him, but I think I might want to put him in a hook. Though he is behind. Is it worth putting him in a hook? Though he is behind the whatever those.
So
Yeah, I
what
remember,
what's the likelihood you're going to be attacked?
it does seem a bit theoretical,
Yeah.
to be completely honest
Because
with you.
his flank is protected by these other guys. There's a sunken road here, and he's in the Swedish field works. The odds of something
Yeah.
happening are pretty slim. Plus, you'd see me coming a mile away because I've got to march with my poor little guys in a non-echelon fashion.
So I
Good
think
times.
that's the end of the movement. All right. And then we got charge declaration. Do I want to move the officer at all here? Or not? He's good. All right. So let's see if he's going to go in, I guess. I do my roll.
Well, he's
fine.
going in.
And the other one.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
he's not. Yay. I
May
have
have just
hope.
gotten a little more complicated.
Yeah. Couldn't have been the other one.
No. It's never the way you want.
So he's shaking now, is that right?
Yeah, he's shaking. That's right. But that's okay. Wait till you see Eric roll.
Yeah. You haven't seen the Austrians roll.
Right.
Yeah,
So-
they can take a silk purse and turn it into a sow's ear faster than you could say
That's what you
fiddlesticks.
want.
Now do I do my charge move? Is
Do
that
your
correct?
charge
Yep.
move. That's right. Yeah.
Do my charge
Although,
move.
can I reaction
Yeah.
charge
Yeah,
before he
you
moves
could.
forward?
Yes, you could. You could reaction charge, and if you weren't willing to op charge him before, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's slightly better for you to
Yeah,
op
'cause
charge
I
him
would
now
get-
that you know that.
Yeah, because and he's, I mean, he's still the attacker, right?
Yes.
So I
I take your
right. So
meaning.
that's because if I move forward, I'd have these two guys in my thing, and so that's why I want to find out he's
Yeah,
still
but-
the attacker.
But you're not attacking. That's a good point.
Right.
Really, in the case of countercharge, he's still the attacker. So in that case, if you countercharged before he moved,
Yep.
and you succeed your morale check, of
Right.
course, then you'd move forward, and he's attacking you, and only attacking from his one hex, attacking you.
Right. And I would
Right.
get a +1 for moving forward, and he wouldn't get a +1 for moving forward, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Well, we might as well give that a try. Let's see how lucky or unlucky the Austrians can be. Hey, my God, we did it.
Lucky enough to pull it off. So
Yep.
okay, all right, wow. So this is suddenly a lot different than what we expected. So it's 3 to 5 are the raw odds, right?
Yep.
Well, and these are some really good guys, aren't they?
Yeah. And so my guy is, I guess, +2 because he's half dead, correct?
Uh, that's correct. Now, actually, what we really need to do is we need to take the top 4 increments
Okay.
and average. Now, it's not going to matter because the top unit is a +2, as you said.
Right.
The bottom unit
Is a
is really also a
+2.
+2.
Yeah.
No, no. Well, no, he's not actually, because it's -2 for half dead. He's only a +1, but 1 and 2 are going to average to 2, so it
Yeah.
still ends up being 2.
Yeah.
And then it's 3 for being light cavalry, and then 4 for the advance of a hex.
Right.
So 4 for you. David's 6,
Yep.
4, and then +2. So that's 1 to 2 +2. I think we got that
Yep.
right.
Yep. That sounds about right. So 1 to 2 with a
Yep.
+2. Okay. Let's see what
1
you
to
can
2,
roll.
but that's not too good. But we'll see. We're gonna get like a 19. So
Oh
18.
my God, that's an awesome roll.
Yeah.
So that's going to be, yeah, that's going to be
Plus
And not
a 9, right? Yeah.
A
So
9. 1
that
to
is a
2.
1D and a 2R for me.
2R. Boy.
All right.
Okay.
And it's going to be worse than
So,
that, right? Because I got to retreat back.
you don't have to retreat through any zones of control, though.
Don't
no.
I? I mean, how am I
No.
supposed to get out? Don't I have to go
Southeast,
back towards?
southeast, southwest, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
This is a zone of control.
yeah,
Yeah,
but not southeast,
That's the zone of control.
right? Southeast isn't, though.
that is. But then I can't go over
Right.
that unit. That's an enemy unit, right?
Yeah.
And then
So,
here or here, there's a zone of control, right? So I'm going to have to go through another ZOC at some point.
oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I did not perceive.
Yeah. So I'll go here. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that
Right.
way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you'll lose.
So I will lose an
third.
extra 1. So I'll have 3 losses that I have to apportion. So I will
So-
have to take 1 off of the top and then 2 off of the bottom. So they're each down to, I think, just 1 increment apiece, right?
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, actually, no. What happened? Because the guy on top.
They were both 4s when we started.
Yeah. So that's correct.
So yeah, 5 and 6 is certainly a valid solution. So what's the problem?
Nothing. I was just trying to figure out. I just want to make sure I had the combination for them. Let me flip
Right.
them
Yeah.
so I have them in the right. Yep. Okay. Cool.
Right?
Yeah, they both had four increments lost.
Okay, and they are routed. Cool. All
Yeah.
right. So you lose 1, and then you're
Yeah.
going to be disordered.
Yeah. Formation is-
Count
And you could
yourself
actually
lucky.
kill even more, I guess, because you could pursue them.
Oh, I suppose so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. I mean, all you need is just to roll a 4.
Well, and you definitely have to roll anyway. So let's just find out what you
Yeah.
get, even though we have it.
A 6. So that's going to be 3. So you could move forward another, I guess it would be, well, how many does this hex count towards it?
No, he's already advanced into there. So pursuit starts there.
Right. So all he needs to go is 1, 2, and they're done.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the other hand, you're now sitting right next to 2 really powerful Austrian cavalry units. Do you really want to be there?
Yeah. What are my powerful Austrian units going to do? Is the question.
With Nadazdi sitting there, I could just
With
run him
Nadazhdi
over.
sitting. Yes, indeed. What's left of my cavalry.
Uh-huh.
So
Anyway,
that's up to you. I'd rather
do whatever
know.
you like. Advance, don't advance. The good news is those guys are out of the fight anyway.
Oh,
Well,
come on.
if I don't advance, what I have to roll a
You still have to roll
You
for
still have to do
recall.
a recall.
Yeah.
and I have to pass that. So
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is the more you move, the more die roll modifiers there are to the disorder recovery. So, you know, you could certainly advance one, chew up one of the 2 units if you want, not really very much risk, and it adds 5 to your die roll modifier. You've already got a +5 for being stay where you are. The other thing, of course, is that if you move any further forward, you're going to be out of command for next turn. I don't know if that matters to you, but hear you, yeah.
All right.
Taken and disordered. You wanted to